very vocal. If times were tough, he'd always, get the guys sort of up again. And I can't say more about Al, to be honest. I mean, it was just a pleasure to play under him, really.
Angels fall to the floor like they would if I was captain. Silver children, she roared, I'm not the son of God. Somebody help me sing, can anybody hear me?
Finished studied at Glasgow Uni, and when I finished uni I got a phone call, or I had 6 months to go in uni. I got a phone call from Jim Telfer to come in for a meeting. You're definitely going to get a pro contract. It might be the Borders, it might be Glasgow, or it might be Edinburgh. For me, Glasgow would have been my number one choice at the time, but then it turned out I was going to Edinburgh. So the decision came, but it was a difficult one because at the time Edinburgh were doing reasonably well. Had a good squad, and to be honest, Glasgow 10 years ago were struggling. So if you were just to look at it as a rugby decision, then, or if you're just to look at it in form at the time, it would have been better to stay. But I made the decision to go. I had no idea whether I'd made the right decision. There was a lot of people telling me that all their opinions. Some people thought it was great, other people not so much. Glasgow finished bottom of the league. They lost to Connacht the season before I arrived. They lost to Connacht in the last game and finished bottom of the league. And I've got to say, at that point I was thinking, is this the right decision?
First meeting, I didn't know who he was. It must have been a long time ago now. Al was playing for a kind of under-20 stroke backup team against Edinburgh. I was playing for Edinburgh in a pre-season friendly at Murrayfield. And I can vividly remember he had a grey scrum cap, and he must have had longer hair at the time, and there was bits of hair coming out of his scrum cap. And he was just the clumsiest, most awkward, sort of skinny second row I'd ever came across in my life. He was wanting to fight everybody, he was wanting to take on the world. So it was an absolute nuisance, and I said, who is this guy? And that was Al. That was my first meeting with Al. He did play well, but he was a nuisance to play against. It's still the same.
So that pitch that was the pitch. But we've lost 40 metres, 30 metres because they've put the flats on. I remember some games here. I remember standing just where the flats are now and watching games as well when I was probably 16, 17, 18 years old. Even when I was at uni as well, we used to phone Rory Kerr to see if we could get tickets because we couldn't afford to buy them. You get great atmospheres because it was so tight. And as much as anything, I remember coming here as a supporter and the atmospheres you used to get. Other memories of this place, Dan Park's always liked to play down the hill in the first half, so it wouldn't matter what the weather was doing. Like, the wind could be absolutely horrific, but Parksy was a bit OCD that way. Always wanted to play down the hill in the first half, and regardless of what I did with the toss, he'd be like, we're playing down the hill. And for the sake of him and for the sake of the team, most of the time I decided, that was just what we would do if we won the toss. The second half against Connacht, quite a tight game, and I started running. I think Scott Lawson's probably outside me, and I looked to pass the ball, and it just seemed to kind of open up. So from the halfway line, I'd like to say I was sprinting. I was close to sprinting as I can. I was a lot younger then, and all of a sudden I'm getting closer and closer to the line, thinking I might be able to make this. And I think everybody else is watching it in the crowd going like, why is he running in slow motion and why is nobody tackling that guy? But for whatever reason the space opened up, so I went from the halfway line straight as a die and scored on the far try line. But as I say, the footage seems to have been lost somewhere along the way, which is a bit of a shame. And it was a shame we had to leave here because this is rugby, like this is heart and soul rugby in the West End. Like, this club's got a lot of history.
It's been great having an ally like Al as a captain. Very easy choice to make as captain, and someone that he's the ultimate professional. Even as he was getting older in his career, he still was first out to training, always working hard through a number of injuries, and always really passionate about helping those around him and helping the club win.
parked. There's an accountant's office down there, and one of the deals that I can't remember if it was Ian Riddick as MD or Kenny Bailey did, but we got used to that as players instead of parking in the street. And that's where you walked. You walked up about 50 metres with your bag, and then into the players' entrance. There's always a security guy in the door. See you coming and let you in. And it was good because even when we arrived, there was still a few fans kind of arriving early. That's a nice part of it. Folk wishing you luck, pushing you forward. Michael's ushering us in. Oh, so I don't remember the first game. I remember standout games, and I remember Bob Harley scoring a try up the wing. Putting something. I think he maybe took the kick off. Took off. Maybe against Edinburgh actually. A couple of fends and then scooped up to somebody who went ahead. I remember Big Richie Gray's last game. The game he announced he was leaving. We played against Bath here, and we went well. We had the line out under a lot of pressure. Big Richie scored a try, and I think somebody kicked it through, and there was a horrific bounce, and it came back over the top of their fullback, and Big Richie was standing there, as it would, landed straight in his hands, and under he went, straight under the post. Guys like Big Richie, like Tommy Evans, Max Evans, Hef and a hair. When I see this ground, it reminds me of Hef. He was superb here. Bernie Stertoni. Used to catch every high ball there was going. When I finished, that'll be the battle I miss the most. Is the time in the change room before the game and the time in the change room after the game. Because you're calm. You go into a park and the emotions are running high, and the games kind of merge into one to a certain degree. You don't have parts of certain games, but when you're calm in a dressing room beforehand, before you get to that last 2 minutes where you start building up, those are the best times because everybody is focused on the same goal, everybody's focused on it. And then post-match, if you've done your job right, regardless of whether you've won or lost, everybody in there knows they've given their all. Everybody in there knows, can look each other in the eye and say, either brilliant, we won, or we gave our all, we weren't quite good enough.
When I first met Al, I thought he was a double for Mel Gibson for the Braveheart movie with his voice. And I really struggled to understand him at first, but once I understood him, I thought he really epitomised what a warrior was. And there's no better example of the club's values and disciplines than Al Kellock. I've learned a lot from Al. Obviously, speaking in huddles and stuff, I never used to be that good with it, but just the way he does it, he's so calm doing it. He does it effortlessly, and he's just a great leader. He speaks well, and he just gets people around him feeling confident.
So this is my drive-in. My drive-in now is from Bearsden to Scotstoun. Originally it was the walk from the West End to Hughenden. I don't have, a lot of guys will have the music that they listen to every time they drive in. I don't really. I love this back. Like if I was playing today, I'd be delighted because the sun is shining. Come in here, that's the walk in now. You walk past the hospitality queue, and it'll be a definite move. Jim Taylor sitting here, sorting out people's wristbands. Our caps board there, managed to sneak on it this year at 150. This is a daily occurrence, so I sit here and Sean Maitland sits here, and he seems to have an inability to close his locker, and I'm in danger of taking my eye out on it. But this is now our changing room, so on a game day this will be immaculate. Guys will clear all their stuff out so that the team come in here. So we've got 2 or 3 changing rooms we use during the week for training. But it's all wired for sound. often arguments about whose music goes on. My music tastes differ compared to quite a few of the boys.
I've always dreamed about playing in this jersey.
I wouldn't fit in that jersey, Huggy.
I'm glad you said that.
So one of the best things about here is that everything's here. So in the past we had weights at the Palace of Arts, Southside. We'd do any speed work at Kelvin Hall. We'd go up to Whitecross for most of our rugby, and if the pitches were frozen then we would 2 or 3 3G pitches dotted around Glasgow we used to use, but it's all here. So the only time we're ever away from here training is if the weather's horrific and we go indoors at Tony Glen or at Ravenscreek. Like even this gym, it's our gym, it's branded up. We were in here 2 weeks ago or so. I mean, we share this facility, there's people come in and use this facility, but it feels like ours when we're here. Standing here, like when I think about this place, I think about it full. And to be honest, Hughenden, brilliant ground for us to play at. Like I say, a heart and soul of what rugby was in the West End, or is in the West End, the Hillhead Club. But it was always a bit of a journey, and it was a journey on the park with the games and trying to win the games and trying to be as successful as we could in the league, and also a journey off the park as far as the crowd that we brought in, the commercial side of the game. So many things that go to making a club bigger and better, I suppose. And this now makes me think we've not arrived, we're still on the journey, but we're so much further ahead than we were before.
I used to go to Firhill, and I used to obviously watch him for Scotland, and yeah, he's a guy I grew up watching, one of my sort of heroes growing up. So when I came here and started training with him, started learning off him, it was pretty surreal. And yeah, he's a great guy, and I'll lot to him.
He's just had a great career. He's had such a big impact on those people around him, and that club culture that he's helped to create at Glasgow. He's been a huge part of that, and that'll certainly be his legacy. And I know he's gonna stay on it and continue to build on that. But I'll certainly miss those team talks and those words at training when you need them. And he's been a great player and a great ambassador for Glasgow Rugby.
He'll talk to me about he's constantly trying to learn and constantly trying to work on helping the club grow off the field. But I think he deserves a lot of credit for what the club's achieved on the field. He should take a lot of pride in that. Captain for 9 seasons, and Glasgow Warriors has made the semi-finals in the Pro 12 4 of the last 5 seasons, including winning a semi-final last year and getting to a final. And Al's been a huge part of that. He's been the on-field leader as part of that growth, and deserves a lot of credit, rightly so. He's going to do a great job helping us off the field in terms of our player development, in terms of integrating new players that come in, and also working with our current players to make sure that we're constantly developing them both on and off the field. He's also clearly got skills as a leader, and that's something we're going to use him to work on and develop the skills of our leaders, our playing group, into developing the next leaders in Glasgow Warriors. In addition to that, he'll also have a role working with the Scottish Rugby Union as an ambassador and supporting various projects within Scottish Rugby. So whilst we are proud that he was captain of Glasgow for 9 seasons, we also shouldn't forget he was captain of Scotland for a fair few as well, including a World Cup. So I'm sure he'll do a great job in that role with Scottish Rugby as well.
We're really thrilled that Al will continue to be part of our family at Scottish Rugby. In some respects, he's hanging up his playing boots and trading them in for a different style of a uniform. I suppose the boots transform into a bit of a suit. He's got a role to play, an important role to play for Scottish Rugby in helping us develop some of our off-the-field activities. He'll come and join my team here at Murrayfield. We'll have the chance to learn about the business of sport. And I know that's something that Al's very passionate about. He wants to understand what it takes to run a sporting organisation. And as we've done with Johnny Petrie, who's recently joined the team, and as we've done with Chris Pattison, we've given them opportunities to understand the business of sport and at the same time act as ambassadors for Scottish Rugby, Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh Rugby.
One constant throughout my whole career has been that almost every game, certainly every home game, and a large percentage of the away games, that my mum and dad have sat in the crowd. followed me all over the world. To New Zealand, Australia, Argentina a couple of times. Been to a lot of the Glasgow European games. Came through to every Edinburgh game that I played. And it makes me, every time I come out and I look in the stand, to know that they're there, it's been a massive part of my career.